Since your pretty ass soon as you came in the door. I just wanna chill, got a sack for us to roll. Married to the money, introduced her to my stove. Showed her how to whip.
What's up, slackers? Welcome to Book Cheats. So I wanted to apologize for not making a video in a little bit. Britt and I are actually upgrading apartments, and so I've been super busy packing and getting our new apartment ready for us to move into. Anyway, let's get right into the chapter. Today we're going to be talking about To Kill a Mockingbird chapter 3. So this chapter is set directly after the last chapter. And at the beginning of this chapter, Scout finds Walter Cunningham in the schoolyard and she tackles him. Scout starts rubbing Walter's face into the dirt and starts beating him up. Scout says that this is the only satisfaction that she's had all day.
Let's put a smile on that face.
Jem comes out of class and sees Scout beating up Walter and rushes to stop her. Jem tells Scout that she can't beat him up because she's bigger than him. Scout tried to explain to Jem why she was beating up Walter, and she explained that she tried to stand up for Walter and it just got her in trouble. Walter's eyes were super watery, and he stood up to defend himself as if Jem was going to attack him too, along with his sister Scout. Jem told Walter that Scout wasn't going to attack him anymore. And he said that their father Atticus was friends with Walter's dad. Jem invited Walter over for dinner, and Walter's face lit up. Scout was pretty mad that Jem had promised Walter that she wouldn't beat him up because he made a promise without even talking to her. Walter seemed ashamed to go to dinner with them at first, but as they walked home, Jem started to talk about Boo Radley and asked Walter if he knew about Boo Radley. Walter said that he heard that Boo Radley would pee on the pecans that would fall from his tree into the schoolyard. Jem bragged that he had actually touched Boo Radley's house one time. As Jem was gloating and acting all brave, Scout knocked him down a few notches and said that if they weren't there, he would be running past Boo Radley's house. By the time they got back to their house, Walter didn't feel out of place anymore. They went inside and Atticus started talking to Walter about farming. And Jem and Scout had no idea what they were talking about. Walter told Atticus that the year before he couldn't pass the first grade because his father needed help farming during the summer. They started to eat dinner and Walter asked for some syrup. Calpurnia got some and Walter poured it all over his food. Scout was shocked at Walter doing this and he asked what in the Sam Hill he was doing. Walter bowed his head in shame as if he had done something wrong, and Atticus shook his head, and Calpurnia told Scout to meet her in the kitchen. Calpurnia was fuming. Calpurnia told Scout that she was not to judge Walter for the way he did things. She told Scout that people come from different backgrounds, and whenever you have a guest over, you're supposed to treat them with the utmost respect, no matter how unusual the things they do. Scout protested and said, but he's a Cunningham. Basically meaning that he's from a super poor family and that we should look down on him. Calpurnia scolded her again and said that whenever you have a guest over, everybody's equal and you treat them with the utmost respect. Calpurnia told Scout that if she wasn't going to be nice, that she was to eat in the kitchen. Scout told Calpurnia that she didn't mind eating in the kitchen and that Calpurnia got her in trouble already today because she taught her to write. Calpurnia smacked her and Scout was happy to eat in the kitchen.
We've talked about
As Calpurnia was going back out to the dining room, she told Calpurnia that, you'll see, one day I'm going to go out and drown myself. After dinner, Jem and Walter headed back to school without Scout because Scout stayed behind because she wanted to talk to Atticus. Scout said that Atticus should fire Calpurnia. Atticus said that he never would and that Scout needed to learn to respect Calpurnia. When Scout got back to school, Miss Caroline was standing on her desk screaming. Scout was super annoyed because she thought Miss Caroline was scared of a mouse or something. Two boys went up to help Miss Caroline, Little Chuck Little and DC. Miss Caroline had been frightened by a student who had lice in his hair. The boy with lice was named Burris Ewell. Scout said that Burris was the dirtiest human being she had ever seen. Miss Caroline told Burris to go home and wash his hair with lye soap and to put kerosene on his hair so that the other kids wouldn't get lice. She told him to take a bath too before he came back tomorrow. Burris said that he was about to leave anyway and that he wasn't coming back tomorrow.
Say hello to the camera.
Hello, motherfucker.
Miss Caroline asked him what he meant. One of the nicer kids answered the question for Miss Caroline and told Miss Caroline that the Ewells just showed up on the first day of school and wouldn't come back the rest of the year. He said that the truant lady would threaten the sheriff at the Ewell family, but the best that they could do was to get the kids there the first day of school. Burris said that he had come to just the first day of school for the last 3 years, and that he reckoned he was smart enough to be promoted to the 2nd grade now. Miss Caroline told Burris to sit back down, and Burris started to get really mad. The same kid who had answered her previous question told Miss Caroline to let Burris go, because Burris was so mean. Little Chuck Little, who was half of Burris's size, told Burris that he better not start anything or he'd kill him. Burris seemed scared of Little Chuck Little, even though Little Chuck Little was so much smaller than him. After Miss Caroline asked him to leave, he started towards the door. As he headed out, he said he wasn't leaving because anybody wanted him to leave. He said he was leaving because he wanted to leave himself. He told Miss Caroline that she was a slut and that she couldn't tell him what to do. He waited until Miss Caroline started crying and then he left the room. The kids gathered around Miss Caroline's desk to comfort her, and she cheered up and finished the day. As Scout walked home after her first day of school was finally done, she thought to herself that if the rest of the school year was this exciting, that it wouldn't be so bad after all. But the thought of being prohibited to read and write just made her want to run away. When Atticus got home from work, he asked Scout how her first day of school went, and she responded with just grunts. Calpurnia could sense that she had a rough first day of school, and she told Scout that she had missed her and bent down and kissed her, and told Scout that she was gonna make her some crackling bread, Scout's favorite treat. Scout had wondered what had come over Calpurnia because Calpurnia never treated her this way before. After dinner, Atticus called Scout to sit on his lap so they could have their usual reading time, and Scout just went outside. Atticus came outside to see what was wrong with Scout, and after some prying, Scout finally explained what was wrong. She told how Miss Caroline prohibited her from reading and writing, and she asked if she could skip this year of school just like the Burris kid would. Scout also told Atticus all the things that had gone wrong that day. Atticus said that he had some advice for Scout. He said that she needed to learn how to put herself in other people's shoes. Scout tried to put herself in the place of Miss Caroline and in Walter's place, and she realized what Atticus had meant. She realized that Miss Caroline also had a rough first day, and that Walter was embarrassed too about the whole situation. She still protested going to school, claiming that the Ewell family would just go the first day and that they could do the same. Atticus explained that the Ewell family was the shame of Macomb County. He said that the Ewells had never done an honest day's work their whole life, and he explained that their father was a drunk and he would just poach all year long, and nobody would even care because he needed to just feed his kids. Atticus told Scout that she couldn't not go to school, but that he would make a compromise with her. He said that if Scout kept going to school, that they could keep reading together and she could keep learning how to write, but that she couldn't tell her teacher. Scout agreed, and Atticus read the paper to her and Jem about a man who sat on a flagpole for no apparent reason. The chapter ends with Jem the next day being motivated by this flagpole story, and he trying to stay in his treehouse all day, and he stayed there all day until Scout stopped bringing him food. And that concludes the chapter. Thanks so much for watching Book Treats. Please leave that like and subscribe. You guys have an awesome summer and slack on.
Never letting go.